The Constitution of Kenya gives every citizen the right to peacefully assemble and hold protests, what is called maandamano, to address their issues towards government or public institutions. And despite it being law in Kenya, we already know that our protests are always filled with violence and chaos. Now, to fully understand the violent culture in our protest, we have to go back in time, way back in time, when a young Raila was at the forefront for multipartyism in Kenya. He echoed that for Kenya to go forward, multipartyism had to be introduced, and at that time, Moi was opposed to the idea, and he was very fierce.
But if Moi proceeds and rakes himself back to power again, using Sesoni, then the people of Kenya shall be justified to use other means to get rid of him.
Raila said what many Kenyans thought about, and truly so, they followed him to the streets. Not long after, things started to change. People were being arrested, major roads being blocked, properties being damaged. Everything was chaotic. Confrontation between civilians and the police. And that was on 7 July 1990. A legal gathering turned chaotic. And through the years, Baba was at the forefront for demonstrations in Kenya, on where he advocated for constitutional reforms, tax reductions, and through that he gained massive followings all over the country. And anytime Baba would announce protests, like on Tuesday, supporters from every corner in the country would assemble and do so. But the Gen Z protest was so unique. It was a media reaction where Kenyans tweeted their opinions about rejecting the finance bill. Then came the newspapers, who had a crackdown of the same. Then the MPs in parliament.
First of all, I reject the Finance Bill 2024. Immediately,
Other MPs were still defiant despite plea from Kenyans to reject the finance bill.
People sending us vulgar messages and telling us you must reject the finance bill. I want to tell them, we are not going to reject the finance bill because you must fund government. But you're going to reject contentious clauses. Clauses about the bread are debatable. If we can't reject some of the clauses entirely, then we have to seek a way to reduce part of the proposals.
You know, Kenyans, when they hear finance bill, they don't want even to know what is inside the finance bill. They just want to say, just reject it. And that's what has been trending today. People have been on our...
Many Kenyans had had enough of the MPs who were still defiant and decided it was time for action. Thursday, 25th June was the D-Day where every Gen Z in Kenya would occupy major roads to send a message to the government. Drop the Finance Bill 2024 or else a total shutdown in Kenya. The Gen Z in Kenya from all backgrounds occupied major roads in Nairobi CBD like the Kenyatta Avenue. Also, in counties like Mombasa, the Gen Z also showed up to show their solidarity with one message. From media tweets to the streets, the revolution was being televised live. The first of its kind, a protest that wasn't politically motivated, where Kenyans gathered around with one message: no to finance bill, no to poor leadership, and no to corruption. A message that was repeated many times during the protest and even online for those who didn't show up. protest went on, Kenyans found ways to counter the tear gas canisters from the police, spraying themselves with water, and enjoying themselves during the protest. But it was short-lived. The police decided to counter by arresting some of the protesters. And as the protest went on, things took a dark turn.
Parliament buildings as the legislative infrastructure was invaded by protesters. Senate Speaker Amason Kingi was among MPs evacuated.
People being shot, Parliament being broken into, things really took a dark turn. Later on that day, the president made the famous speech
of the fundamental rights and freedoms of assembly, demonstration, picketing, and petitioning of public authorities by a section of law-abiding citizens of the Republic of Kenya was infiltrated and hijacked by a group of organized criminals.
A lot of damage had been done, damage that the country had never witnessed before. Police losing arms, threats to the media houses, what was happening, and also protesters being abducted. Kenyans now awaited for the president to make his statement on the finance bill, and he did.
Listening keenly to the people of Kenya who have said loudly that they want nothing to do with this Finance Bill 2024, I concede, and therefore I will not sign the 2024 Finance Bill.
The decision had been made, but the damage was already done. Now the president went on to hold a national dialogue where he addressed the media, promising government reforms, and the victims affected during the protest were to be duly compensated within a year's time from that period. And rightly so, they were compensated. While some Kenyans saw it as a mockery. How can you pay lives lost with money? All this made me wonder, why do our protests always have to be filled with chaos, arrest from people, and filled with violence? Why can't we have a peaceful protest despite it being a law? Even recently, Nairobi's Commander Region, Issa Mahmoud, made a public statement terming the annual Sabasaba protest as an illegal venture.
Yes. And so if you gather tomorrow anywhere, we'll treat you as that is an unlawful assembly. Transport, yes, they can do their businesses, but we'll let them in after our screening. So we'll do screening.
Tell me, is it possible to hold peaceful protests right now in Kenya?
Just in case I have to run. Got eyes in the back of my head. Just in case I have to run. I do what I can when I can, while I can for my people. While the clouds roll back and the stars fill the night. That's